I mean, this is very reminiscent of the drafts we used to see, though, from a droid, isn't it? Like the Ench, the Lesh, the Earthshaker. I'm waiting for PA Mag to come out for the last two picks, and then we'll really have an droid draft here. As Motivate.Trust, they're going to go into the Earth Spirit now. Fair enough, right into the Gyrocopter. We see Jackie playing that Gyrocopter quite often, so maybe just feeling like it's a darn good game for it. And why the hell not? Polaris Esports, though. Time to reveal two more cores for us. I mean, do you kind of predict maybe the Lesh is just going to be off lane? Or I guess they could flex it into the mid lane if they really feel like they need to. Like, what heroes are we looking for here for Polaris?
I think they're going to have to eye... I think it's at this point where you hammer in your mid. You see the matchups.
Wow.
They go with a Terrorblade instead, so this is something Natsumi is very comfy with. We have seen him play this hero a ton as well, and it is one of his comfort picks. Like, it still plays strong. It did get slightly touched up in the meta. We don't see it as often, but it's almost like the TA where the nerfs didn't feel enough to kind of knock it off. It's just the pace of the game has changed with faster heroes coming through. So we'll see if Natsumi can play the tempo with his Terrorblade up. The magic damage coming through from Motivate.Trust isn't amazing yet, but with Earth Spirit, Storm Spirit, and the Gyrocopter, there is enough to kind of melt this Terrorblade down before his BKB's up, and that's whether or not the Terrorblade even bothers for the BKB in this game, as we have seen Terrorblades just skip that item out entirely. So we'll see if Natsumi gets pressured enough to have to itemize that way. You do see Motivate.Trust, they further ban out mids now, knowing that it's likely the Leshrac is the after last picking max hero for the mid lane, and banning out the Void Spirit. Polaris themselves banning out the offlaners, so Masaros no option for the Darkseer, which does play really nicely against Terrorblade. Like, Iron Shell melts him. You don't have too much magic resist, you only have really high armor, your HP's low, so Darkseer can kind of bully out, and of course that was kind of opening up an Earth Spirit Darkseer combination as well there that could have slid through for MTG. So we'll see what other options get left. Timbersaw's something there if they want. There's already good control for the Tim though. Like, Shaker Fisher is going to annoy you. Leshrac magic damage will melt you until you hit a Hood of Defiance timing. Even then, the magic damage coming through is... your protection doesn't scale like it does with reactive. So there's kind of a cap in how tanky you can get against the burst of the Lesh, or the sustained damage that the Lesh has over time. But that is still a comfort pick for Masaros, and you could just kind of tank him up with the Omni Knight anyway, if you wanted to go with the Timbersaw.
I wonder, like, for Masaros now, do you just... I bring up Night Stalker all the time. I feel like it's still a great Night Stalker game for either team. Yeah. Almost feels like a bit of a free Night Stalker game if Motivate take it. Like, what's there to stop it?
Not much. You do have... Well, if you jump the Shaker and the Leshrac, and they tend to group up, and that's an easy way to burn them down. Yeah, the Bat Rider comes out. The Lasso is really good control here. You don't have saves from Polaris. You don't have Dispels on Polaris, so the Lasso target is just likely to die. Like, you don't have Shadow Demon Disruption, you don't have an Abaddon, you don't have the Omni Knight on your side. Masaros should have a really nice lane against a Terrorblade. Just playing around with a Sticky Napalm and the Firefly when it's up. Really strong lane with a Earth Spirit as well. Bat Rider Earth Spirit lane. Lots of control. Lots of pressure. Natsumi's going to have to watch himself there.
It's going to be rough. That's for sure. Polaris. Well, they're going to go for the Legion Commander. So you've got a way of purging off the Lasso now. Nico going to go ahead and take that. It is very reminiscent of the old school drafts I used to remember. It's almost like the meta changes over and over again, but these guys, they're just running the same things. They remember what it was like back in the day, what made it work. So I'll ask you the hard question, John. I mean, you look at these drafts. Who do you think came out on top?
I'd lean towards Motivate.Trust. I think even with that counter pick in the Legion Commander to handle the Bat Rider Lasso, I don't think it's going to be too big of an issue for Motivate.Trust. The key thing is that they have a lot more jump potential on Motivate.Trust side. They've got an Earth Spirit, they've got a Storm Spirit, they can save both heroes with the Omni Knight. They have this earlier timing on the Gyrocopter compared to the Terrorblade, depending on how Jackie itemizes. So there's earlier presence on the Gyrocopter to play to this faster meta we have. If the game does stall out, the Terrorblade will outscale. So I think Motivate.Trust will have to play quick, and we'll see, because we talked to Motivate.Trust before. They always mention it, but their laning phase tends to be their weakest point. They have to win it out with this kind of draft to ensure the snowball does start rolling for them.
Yeah, we'll see if it does pan out. I mean, currently, when you look at these drafts, it does feel like Polaris Esports is probably going to be able to run the stronger lanes, apart from maybe the safe lane where Masteros and the Batrider, it's Batrider. You don't really lose lanes when you play Batrider, so it is expected that they at least win the off lane for Motivate.Trust, but the mid lane could be either way, and the safe lane for Jackie could kind of be the same. So looking forward to seeing what Polaris can get done and what Motivate can get done to get their Season 8 started for the Pro Series. By the way, we'll predict right now, are we going to see a Fey Grenade for Masteros, John?
Of course.
Of course.
Of course we are.
Yeah.
It's a given. There's a Batrider there. That interaction is the dumbest thing. It's so dumb. How does it burn for so much?
It's so much
my
damage.
God. Oh, I remember that lion. He was just standing there. He thought he was safe because the flame break missed. Nope. Fey Grenade, you're dead. Haha. I'm flying away. Batrider, by the way. Balance hero. Fun. Great stuff.
So much damage. Like, it's so stupid how much damage. Like, you essentially give Batrider a new spell. And like a new DPS spell. Like, you've given him like a second flame break, basically.
Yeah. It's nutty, and we'll see. That is a tier 2 neutral, so it's gonna take some time until that's up for Masteros, but it's gonna be fun if he does get to pick that up. And we'll have to see again if Polaris, they get that drafting style you mentioned. It's very reminiscent of what we were seeing in 2019, 2020 from these same guys. Well, we'll just have to see if that same philosophy still works in this day and age. We don't see much Terrorblade nowadays. We don't see too many Shakers. And the Shakers we have seen have not been amazing so far. But this is a boomy Shaker. So maybe that's all that it takes to kind of make a difference.
Yeah, I mean, could be. I still remember those big echoes we used to see back in the day from Boomy. Very happy to see him back on a hero like this. Nico, playing with fire there, just running into that Radiant side. Will be just fine though. Tanky LC. Won't get it even jumped on. Where do they set up? Both teams kind of just deciding where they want to go for these bounty runes. See if either one decides to get a little bit greedy here as bot lane going to go the way of Jackie. It looks like it might be a 2 for 2. No, it's going to be a 3 for 1 as Motivate.Trust managed to sneak another one there with Q.
Good start for them already as we see the lanes break out. Masteros is hanging out with Q on the top lane. It is the Batrider Earth Spirit lane, so they've got a lot of early aggressive potential. Level 2 is going to be a really nice spike for them. Likely to wait for level 3, but to get level 2 sticky Napalm along with a Firefly, that's when they can start running down. A lot of lag here, unfortunate.
Log, as Mac corrected himself.
A lot of log, yes.
That was the thing back then. There was a game where we just couldn't stop laughing about that whole, like, it said log instead of lag. We just went with it the whole time. Maybe it was Detroit. You never know. Such a long time.
I think it was.
Ago.
I think it was Mac on mid. He was having issues with his internet, and I remember there was a storm going on. So I was like, "Yeah, the logs are flying."
Something's never changed. I swear we haven't had a game where we haven't had a pause at the start of the game today. I mean, it feels like every single game has had a pause. Like I don't know. Maybe we've had it too good recently. I'm not used to it anymore.
Yeah, tradition has to come out. This is the Southeast Asian tradition. What I'm surprised is that Polaris still has 2 players who haven't disconnected. So there you go. 2 stable connections. Too many. That's too many stable in Polaris. Everyone has to disconnect.
It looks like we're just waiting for Boomy now. Hopefully he's going to be all right. Motivate. See if they have rectified their laning issues as a team. It feels like every time we speak to them in an interview, they talk to us about their laning issues. It's been like that for quite a while now. Obviously they know the problem. It's just about fixing the issue, which can be a lot harder than it sounds.
Yeah. I've got the solution for that, though.
What's
what
that?
They need, as the MY gang, is just talk more to my pro Dota 10. He knows the answers.
Yeah,
Use that resource.
Yeah. He's like a library, that guy, you know? So much knowledge.
I wish, he was playing in QH, Mac and Fish. Fearless. What kind of combination is Mac and Fish? Macaroni and fish. I've never had that, Fearless.
Who the hell knows? Let's get into the lanes, John. Fearless against Mac in this mid lane. Who do you think it favors? Does it go either way? Even matchup? What are you thinking?
Feel it's a lot better for the Leshrac as levels build up. The Storm does have ways of playing around with a static Remnant and the Overload, but it's easier for Mac to apply his harassment when he sees Fearless run up. For the Remnant play, you could just threaten with a Split Earth, and it makes it a bit awkward. But Fearless is used to this matchup. He's played a lot of Storm. He is a Master Tier Storm as well, so he does get to show that off. And we know he loves this hero, so he should be able to hold out the lane regardless. Heating is level 6 timing, but you can already see Mac is working the lane well with slightly more denies. And as long as he shoves out the wave, I think Mac has the edge in terms of dipping into those small camps to clear out the farms, to get some farm as well.
Fair enough. In the bot lane, a lot of damage already flying out here onto Nico. Got set 0 there with Jackie, of course, and we do have a bit of pulling action here from Boomy on the Earthshaker. Fairly standard stuff. As time goes on, Nico should be able to apply a lot more pressure onto Jackie, and of course, as the LC, you do tend to be able to deny CS very, very well. I suppose set 0 is going to be somewhat annoying, but again, as the levels go up, I think Nico should just be able to fight back quite effectively with the moment of courage, and eventually set 0 will probably struggle to actually trade harassment with Boomy and Nico.
Yeah, it's slower lane for the Omni Knight to play with. Gyrocopter is a highly aggressive core if you kind of build up in the laning skills like that, but we do see the flak leveled up, homing missile just for some harassment, and for the most part Jackie did manage to pull it back, so it's getting pretty much a free couple of creep waves for himself all the way up there in CS now, and solo EXP as well. So those early Gyrocopter leveled spikes are going to line up, and that's the point where you can start playing aggressive.
Oh, Q ends up dropping a CML, so First Blood going the way of Polaris. Q looks like he just ended up getting caught out. CML just chases him down with the right clicks and eventually gets the job done.
Yeah, just have to be cautious with how far in you dive. With the impetus up and with a slow on enchant, you do have a lot of ways of counterplaying that aggression on the side of Motivate.Trust. And we were talking about this lane just a bit a while ago before the pause. Bat Rider and Earth Spirit lane is very strong. It does feel like you need to wait for maybe level 3 for this to really kick off with the level 2 Napalm or the level 2 Firefly coming in for Masaros. Before then, the damage output is not going to be too amazing. Natsumi should handle, although the roll misses.
Yeah, it does, but they got the Boulder Smash, and that should be enough. Natsumi, he's going to try and run in CML. Well, he already used the enchant, so he can't slow down Masaros. But it seems as though they're going to have enough damage to make Masaros go back. I suppose Q maybe did need to land the rolls. They just didn't have enough damage in the end for Natsumi.
I love that CML took this Purge creep as well. So it's really annoying Masaros. Look at that. He just can't run.
Yeah. He has to TP away right back to the fountain. Definitely not the kind of start you'd want as mid lane. Oh, Fearless. It's like he ends up getting taken down. Mac able to secure the kill. And Boomy made the rotation on the Earthshaker.
This is something that we were talking about in the YG game, right? With Shaker, Lesh, there are opportunities to be aggressive. They get a good rotation mid, find that kill. And if you slow down a Storm, it can be a bit tricky for Fearless to catch up. He tends to be much more of a playmaking Storm player, so he wants some early timings to really get aggressive. They even block him off from taking the Water Rune. So they're just getting everything they could possibly ask for. As set 0 had to grab the Water Rune for himself to prevent double runes coming out from Mac. So it's a slower start for Fearless, and you're seeing that Leshrac, again, playing with a level advantage and playing with a much more aggressive supports they have in Polaris. Like, you can't expect the Omni Knight to do as much. You could maybe ask for the Earth Spirit to come up, but considering this kind of start and the damage output of the Storm at this point, it just doesn't feel worthwhile yet.
Yeah, Boomy's being a real nuisance. Like, he just continues to hang around, taking bounty runes away from Fearless. Clearly, he's not going to let Fearless farm either. Not these side camps anyway. If he does, at least soak the XP away from the Storm so he can't get full value out of that cap. course, Fearless knows he's there on the high ground. He just can't do much about it right now. Not until he's hit that level 6 mark, and even then it'll still be quite difficult to try and make plays onto that Earthshaker. Meanwhile, top lane, Masteros, he tried to go again, but he's going to end up going down. Fisher was there from Boomy to hold him down. And Natsumi takes the kill now on the Terrorblade. It's just terrible news. As mid lane, Fearless. He's going to get bursted down by the Pulse Nova, and Mac gives the tip over. Just can't believe what he's seeing.
Yeah, that's a really aggressive position for Fearless to be at with that level 6 disadvantage. Really good start for Polaris. So 0-4, less than 1k lead coming out. We talked about Motivate.Trust having weaker starts. This is one of the slower starts they've had for themselves. And giving this kind of lead to a Terrorblade very early on, to a Leshrac who has very quick timings, can be some bit of bad news. Even Boomy, right? Like, he's just allowed to soak up, allowed to hit his levels. Eventually, he'll start saving up for the blink. He's kind of working for that to get scared.
Yeah, Boomy, gonna get jumped now. Fearless gonna try and make something out of this. He's quite low on mana though, but should have enough to zip away. If I say that, Mac might just keep chasing him down now. No, decides better of it. We'll leave him be. So Boomy does finally get punished here by Fearless. But it does seem like Mac wants to start pressuring that mid-tier 1, and you've got CML around as well with the Enchanted creep. Fearless has not got enough mana to actually defend this. But it looks like with the Glyph, Mac wants to back off. Set Zero will come in with the Purification and just burst down the Siege creep. And that should put an end to this tier 1 tower push.
But that does necessitate a lot of support rotations down here from the side of Motivate.Trust. So they're leaving their side lanes a bit open. Doesn't look like it's something Polaris is really abusing. Jackie on the gyro is still out CSing the Terrorblade. So that is a bit of good news there for Motivate.Trust. The free lane for the gyrocopter working out. However, you're not really slowing down Nico as well. He does have the duel ready. All he needs is a rotation.
Well, the problem right now is probably going to be Mac on this Leshrac, John. He's 3-0-0. This mid Leshrac and just having a great time. And maybe he struggled in CS earlier on, but his net worth does not reflect that. See, he's gotten 3 kills, so a lot of bonus gold going his way. Looks like he's not planning to slow down anytime soon either. But he even gets the pick pole. Very nice for himself.
I think the one thing that we're not seeing for Motivate.Trust that they have to play with is early aggression with the Earth Spirit has not been coming out. Like, the lane went a bit slower for Q and Masaros. Mid lane rotations just weren't there for Q, as the presence of Boomy was just much more effective, and they always found a kill first on Fearless. So we're missing out on that early rotation spike that you tend to expect from this hero. And if you don't get those rotations, the hero can feel a bit flat at times.
Mid lane, Fearless going to be just chased down here by Mac. Look at the confidence from Mac, but he might pay for it. This Fearless does avoid the split earth, but they still get the kill. Boomy was there. The Diabolic Edict was still going. I mean, it's still worthwhile for the side of Motivate.Trust, but you see how much they have to commit to just try and make sure this Leshrac doesn't do whatever he wants. There's now CML. He's going to be chased down as well on the Enchantress. Looks like he might just be set to fall as Q. Should be able to finish off the kill, but Boomy is there to block the roll and has the Fisher back up. Silence is there, but Flame Break, no, it's going to connect. That'll be enough. However, Boomy going to try and trade again. They do still have that Enchanted creep, draining the mana of Q. But the rest of Motivate.Trust have grouped up in that mid lane. That'll ensure Boomy can't go much further. Fearless though, he can definitely just zip in like this. Smack, he's going to try and show up, but it's too late. Fearless now punishing this Earthshaker again. As Nico, he'll try to make a chase onto Set Zero. Won't be able to catch him for the duel though. Meanwhile, bottom lane Masaros going to try and chase down Natsumi. Firefly is going to be up with Lasso. However, CMO gets a very nice enchant off, and that makes it so Masaros just won't be able to get a decent Lasso off. He will drop, but maybe they can still get Natsumi. But no, the press the attacks there. Natsumi's going to barely survive, and now Jackie, he's the one in trouble. The duel's going to be out, and Nico is able to secure the kill. As Natsumi, he is still being chased down by Q, but they just can't get him.
Oh man. The aggression from Motivate.Trust just not lining up. They need more time to build up. They need a way to counteract that enchant. They need the Omniite around with Masaros. He needs that Heavenly Grace to dispel that off and get the speed up to isolate the Terrorblade. Those kills are big for Polaris, although Fearless again.
Well, he zips in for that double, but there's no mana left, so Mac's going to chase him down. Fearless may have just killed himself for that rune, and yeah, he has. Tips out Mac. He's going to be more than happy with that trade. I mean, it's a Leshrac in the end. He doesn't want the double damage.
Yeah, that's pretty greedy coming out from Fearless. Good punishment from Polaris. They're lining up mid for the tier 2 push for their own siege creep. Mac, he's got the Edict backed up. Fortify is there to stall, but this tower's not going to be standing for long. And Motivate.Trust just don't have the tools to fight into this early aggression from Polaris. So early mid tier 1 taken at 10.5 minutes in. Opens up more farm space for Natsumi. More aggression from the side of Polaris, and Motivate.Trust needs to go back to the drawing board. Right? They need some items up, especially on Fearless. At least get this Kaya up and running so the Storm can sustain the zip a little bit easier and kind of run from there. It's one of those things. We've seen Fearless in this spot before. You know, he needs an item to play because he's not the kind of Storm to just constantly sit back and farm. He does want to set up for his team, but without items, he can't really do that.
Yeah, absolutely not. Yeah, in the meantime, Natsumi's still just out farming Jackie. And everything else is going splendidly. Like, look at Mac. He's taking these huge stacks for himself. Gonna allow him to get those boots of travel up very, very soon on this Leshrac, and that's gonna allow him to escalate even further, as if he was not scary enough. Bottom lane, Natsumi, he'll go for a chase onto Masaros. Masaros does have help incoming. Is it gonna be enough though? You've got Fearless and Q, they'll zip in. Natsumi is gonna be the target as Fearless. It's a lot of damage off already. Flame Break is there, they get the silence, and that'll be it. They even commit Lasso just in case, but now Boomy's out with the Fisher and Masaros. At least he is going to go down to the Bat Rider. But that'll be about it. Still a worthwhile trade for Motivate. They'll have to take what they can get.
Yeah, it's the big kill they've been looking for a very long time. They managed to finally get some punishment for Natsumi, and while that happens down bot, they buy space out for Jackie up top. He's solo pushing the tier 1. Mac is around if he wants to make a play. It's only him, though. So you can't really just toss his body out with the protection of the Omni-Knight there from set 0. So they're going to be able to even out map control just a tad bit with top tier 1 and give Jackie some more room to breathe. He's rushing the Ags here on the Gyrocopter. Slow progress so far, but he is still number 1 in net worth. So at the least, you've got this big Gyrocopter kind of free farming right now. They just needed to pay off in the end while they're kind of sacrificing their Bat Rider and Storm farm.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing though. The Gyrocopter just doesn't feel as impactful as, say, even a TB or a Leshrac, right? Like, it just needs so much more farm to really feel like that big carry.
Radiant are scanning.
See how much Jackie can get. In the meantime, Motivate, they're going to keep running down towards the bot side to haunt Natsumi here on this Terrorblade. They're going to run right into him. Zip in. Fearless, not going to get the Vortex yet, but does eventually get into it with the rollout from Fearless and Q. They might be able to blow him up, but no, they press the attack, and now the Sunder's there. They will barely miss out as Natsumi and Nico are going to turn right back around, and Mac has joined the fray to boot. Masaros, he avoids the split earth, but he is still going to be jeweled up, and will still go down to Nico. There's Mac, he wants a bit more. Everybody else just going to dissipate, but set 0. No, he's going to be alright. That's TP timing for him on the Omni. Just still not great news for Motivate.Trust, however.
They're just committing a lot in getting these rotations out, and if they don't find a kill, it's the Storm and the Bat Rider just don't get anything. Because they're joining in early on. They're not farming. They're ensuring Jackie has farm. But an unfarmed Storm and Bat Rider just hard to pull off. Masaros does have travels, so he's a bit speedier. And the enchant's been on point from CML every single time. And the timing is that sometimes set 0 just doesn't have Heavenly Grace. So it just kind of removes that initiation for Masaros, removes that control and the threat of the lasso. Makes it very awkward for Motivate.Trust to fight. They need the BKBs to start flying out on Masaros especially, just to ensure that they can jump and hold someone back fully. Jackie does have the Ags up, and he is going to rebuild his Dragonlance, so the Gyrocopter is starting to shape up a bit more. The damage output's good. He will also need a BKB for protection against the Leshrac, against the Shaker damage, and that's still a ways off.
Oh, very close call there for Fearless in the Storm. Mac, he still has the Yule Scepter and does manage to get it off. Split Earth timing is perfect. Nico needs the Jewel and does get it as well. Heavenly Grace, however, is there to protect Fearless, who have time to zip away, but he's still going to try and fight. Back in on Nico. The Legion Commander still won't die in set 0. He's the first one to fall. Mac just trying to run to Massaros, is doing a lot of damage, and now he's just stuck on the cliff. Nico, Q, both go down, and Natsumi's going to rejoin the fray. Mac, he will die in the Leshrac. So it's hard to know who actually won this team fight, but it does seem like Motivate may be the ones on top.
Yeah, they get the kills they needed. Kill off 2 cores, only lose 2 supports, force the buyback in the Omni, not a big issue. They're still chasing for more.
Yeah, CML should go down. Natsumi still going to threaten, however, a nice flame wave can know the Echo Slam. Boomy going to force them back. Fearless luckily does not go down in the Storm. Jackie, he's dropping very low here to Natsumi. But Natsumi is quite a slow walking Terrorblade at the moment, as now they're going to turn back around. He may have gotten too greedy, and they just blow them up.
Oh, man. That was beautiful. That re-engagement from Motivate.Trust, the fact that they knew they could jump in with a Guardian Angel with no magic damage on the LC and on the Terrorblade, because they saw the earlier commitment on that overwhelming odds, gave them just the right window to clean up. So Motivate.Trust starting to claw their way back. They needed these kills to get Fearless and Massaros up and running. The Storm and Batrider have managed to keep up. At the least, Massaros is above Nico's LC. So the Batrider is starting to get more items up. BKB on the way. Fearless still lagging severely behind Mac on that Lesh, but he's got the Kaya. The Sanj not too far off. And even with just Kaya Sanj, Fearless' Storm, that's pretty much his timing. That's when he can really start to play around. He just needs the backup of his supports. They just need to be on point with the targets they use the Heavenly Grace and the heal on. And I think that's when you can start to line up that aggression with Batrider, with a Storm, and keep building up on Jackie. Somehow, Jackie is still maintaining that lead over Natsumi, just down to the efficiency of flak farming and all the...
in lane, he's going to be alright. Press the attack is there, or maybe not, because Fearless, he just jumps right in and gets the kill. In fact, Lasso is there by Massaros. They've got the LC as well. 2 heroes down already. Motivate starting to build the momentum now as they rush forward for more. Mac's going to back out. He's going to be able to make it just fine on the Leshrac, but that mid-tier 1 tower is set to fall. It's just classic Motivate.Trust. Lose lanes, and then mid-game comes around, and then they just look like the stronger team.
They've got a beautiful rune as well. Double damage up on Fearless. So next rotation out should be a lot faster as well for Motivate.Trust. I'm surprised that they always kind of turn things around when things just look absolutely done. Like they lose out early. They weren't massively behind, but really it was only Jackie would farm, and they still managed to make it work. Like now Massaros, just a few hundred gold left for the BKB. Once that's up and running, again, Batrider is just going to be hard to control. Polaris, they haven't really made progress in tier 2s, approaching the 20-minute mark. You'd expect some damage to tier 2s at this point with the Leshrac up, but Motivate are just throwing bodies for it. I think that's why they were so keen to fight. They were fighting away from towers, which meant that while Jackie farmed up, he could equalize lane, or at least, take these fights while the towers weren't pressured, and ensure that even if they lost, no objective would be gone.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Polaris. Definitely a bit of a slow period now for them. Natsumi, he'll get to work on the Eye of Skadi. Motivate, slowly but surely feeling like they're coming back into this game.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
I mean, it does seem like they might just sit back and farm a bit. Like, everybody just needs some items right now. The Eye of Skadi on Natsumi, Aghanim Scepter on your Storm, BKB on Jackie. I mean, maybe once the BKB's up, Jackie might want to go play.
Radiant are scanning.
Up until that point, though, I don't... Well, you never know. He's moving on to that top tier 2 tower, but I don't think he hard commits for the tier 2. Or does he? Split Earth is there. They have the Heavenly Grace. suppose that's why he feels so confident. Just keep hitting the tier 2 tower and alright, he gets away with it. No problem.
Yeah, it's not a good sign for Polaris that they've got the Leshrac and they don't manage to take a tier 2 first, at least. This opens up the top jungle and a big wave for Motivate.Trust. They could take the outpost. They could consider Roshan, although they don't clear it too fast. They don't have the highest damage output, so maybe down the line. But that does limit the map space for Polaris to play farm now. Like, Natsumi's just constantly playing bot. Again, he's still consistently lagging behind Gyrocopter's flat cannon farm. Just about a 1.6k, 1.5k lead for Jackie, which is, at this point, yeah, it's a measurable difference that you can feel on the Gyrocopter. That BKB you mentioned is up on Jackie. So if they did want to fight, this would be a very good time, and Motivate.Trust have smoked up with 3 heroes.
Yeah, that they have. You want to fight before Natsumi gets his Eye of Skadi up, because that's going to be a massive kind of power spike for him on the TB. Instead, they're going to go after that Roshan. Try to force the fight that way. That's absolutely fair enough. Polaris won't want to let this one go down, but they may have no choice in the matter. It might be a little bit hard to expect them to make the rotation to defend. In fact, it seems like they don't even know what's happening.
They got the scan off in the pit, but they didn't make moves in. That's what I was really wondering. Like, they got the scan, they were clumped up mid, and they just opted to go farm. They had Echo Slam, they had to blink up, so they miss out on an opportunity. Jackie does have the second life, so BKB plus Aegis can be really good for Jackie now to stand up front and fight. And he is getting really strong in the gyro, going for the Crystallis into Daedalus next. Putting the Satanic on the backseat. I feel like, you know, maybe you go Crystallis Satanic just to have that protection, just to have that life steal up. It's another smoke out for Motivate.Trust, though. Still on the hunt.
Yeah, certainly on the hunt, Jackie. Got a front line, Mac. He's spotted out. Again, he feels very safe while the Omni Knight's right behind him. Not really much to be afraid about, because you've always got that Heavenly Grace to be thrown out on you. You'll just slowly start chipping away at that tier 2 tower. And I say slowly, it's actually not too bad of a pace. And as Polaris, you've got to respond to this. I mean, you can't just let this happen. Because Jackie's not backing. He is demanding a response right now. He's going to get it for free. They are not willing to fight him at the moment. In fact, CML, he's been scouted out, so Fearless will zip right in. They are still demanding that response. CML, he's going to back off, and now the lasso's there onto Mac into the call down. Have they left this Leshrac behind? Yeah, they have.
It's a small mistake that Motivate.Trust spotted. They saw the press the attack committed on the Enchantress. So they knew they could go in, there's no defensive spell to stop the lasso. They get the bigger target in the end, and it pays off. And Motivate.Trust are actually still looking for high ground. I mean, they still have this fresh BKB. They've got the Aegis. It could be a bit tough. They are kind of forced back, but they've gotten a massive lead now. 4k up, 2 lanes exposed, tier 1 bot protecting that bot racks. But the Gyrocopter is hitting huge strides. Natsumi, very close to his Skadi now. So the Terrorblade is about to hit its own spike. Whether or not it's going to be enough against the Gyrocopter and the control and the damage for Motivate.Trust is a different question, but that should be the point where Polaris can start to confidently look to take fights now.
Yeah, absolutely. Mid lane, Polaris going to group up, smoked up. Trying to take advantage of this Skadi. Natsumi, though, is going to be very cautious to not get caught out himself. They know exactly where Jackie is. Again, Jackie's just so confident. As long as he has set 0 behind him on the Omni, he is not afraid of dying whatsoever. How do you initiate? They're going to move in. Mac. The Pulse Nova, but there's your Heavenly Grace out. They'll Fisher block him in, but the cooldown's going to come out. And Jackie, I mean, he's blocked. He is definitely blocked in there, and they're going to take him out that way. That's one line. Now you got to force the fight. Fearless, he's going to zip right in. Natsumi, he's going to be targeted, but they get the duel off. Fearless, he's just immediately going to die. They don't really get much out of it. CML's the one to drop. Guardian Angel has been committed, Boomy. He'll be committed on by Q, and looks like Boomy is set to fall and does. Bit of a slow process, but a double kill out for Jackie is now Natsumi's going to be targeted. He'll get the Manta off. He has the Sunder, but Masaros, he's on the chase with the lasso. They want Mac. In fact, never mind. It was all a bait. They'll go after Natsumi. They will take him out. No Sunder will come out. There is only one hero left, and that is the buyback from Boomy, and he's been caught out by Q. Echo's there, but it's going to be a dieback.
Yeah, that's a massive win. It looked bad when Fearless was kind of caught off guard, but it did split the fight up. Like, it forced their focus elsewhere, and that just gave Jackie enough room to use his Aegis to great effect, use his BKB to clear out the tier 2. High ground opens up, and 10k lead is up for Motivate.Trust. Polaris, this game is bounced out of their hands. They had the early game. They had the laning start. If you look at the graph in terms of net worth, it was going their way for a long time. It wasn't a huge lead, but it was kind of in their favor, and then they just lose momentum. They don't manage to take a tier 2. It was Motivate.Trust who start finding tier 2 towers, took Roshan. They scanned out the Rosh and didn't manage to jump into it. And I think giving those kinds of openings to a team like Motivate.Trust just kind of asks for trouble, because Motivate.Trust are used to actually just losing their laning phase. As we said, that's what they always say in interviews. They know their laning phase is kind of bad.
Yeah. They expect to lose and make the comeback. Nice duel out. Set Zero does get caught. There'll be no backup. So definitely a very nice pick off there for Polaris, but I mean, you need a lot more than that. And quite frankly, you need that in the team fights. Because Set Zero has been a real nuisance on that Omni. He's the whole reason Jackie just feels so safe and doesn't ever die. We need to see that big duel out, perhaps on the Omni Knight very, very soon, but it is easier said than done, considering Set Zero just doesn't show on the map, and, well, unfortunately for CML, he did show on the map. Roll was committed. It may not matter, though, because Fearless is there with the Vortex. They do secure the kill on CML. I suppose for Polaris, it's just all about buying time for your TB right now. But buying time is also going to go the other way, and you're going to be giving that Aghanim Scepter over to Fearless. Jackie will T-buying full Daedalus very soon. I don't think the time's going to matter anymore for this TB. It's not looking great anymore for Polaris.
And big issue for the TB is that Guardian Angel, really. Like, the physical damage disappears. Suddenly your big farm core just can't get the damage to control any of these heroes. And Motivate.Trust starts running around. They don't really care for the Terribly at that point. They focus him down, take him out. The damage output of the Lesh is still good to a certain extent, but you really rely more on Nico. And we're at that point of the game where you might need a nullifier on one of these heroes just to enable yourself to kill someone while Guardian Angel's up. It's a long way until we see a nullifier, though. Natsumi's just trying to save up for a BKB so he can be protected up front. But even with a BKB, that just leaves him as a big lasso target still for Masaros. Doesn't care for that spell immunity as Motivate.Trust go for a smoke play, trying to keep that hunt up.
Not gonna find anyone. Everyone from Polaris is hanging at the bot lane, trying to stay away from Motivate.Trust if they can. Get back to the farming game, I guess, for Jackie. By the way, Masaros, it seems like he never found that Fey grenade. So, guess, sorry.
That's a shame.
It is a shame.
Sometimes Destiny just doesn't line up.
Very sad, indeed. I guess he won't mind, though. I mean, it's been a pretty great game for Motivate now. 11k net worth lead.
You know, I guess the quickening charm kind of makes up for it. Lower CD on Napalm, lower CD on Firefly, always nice to see. And the lasso uptime as well. So, you trade damage for utility is nice, but it's just not the same. You know, I want to see people melt to max Napalm. It's so sad. What an item with the Batrider. I just want everyone to keep seeing it, because it's such a beautiful sight.
Dire are scanning.
Motivate's still looking for the right opportunity to try and make a jump in on Polaris. And Polaris still just kind of hanging back, trying to give Natsumi as much space as he can possibly get. Which isn't much at the moment, but better than nothing.
Second Roshan is up. Motivate.Trust does have control of the area if they want to take it. That is Aegis and Shard. And it looks like they will make their way in. Wonder who they give the Shard to. Maybe just hand it over to... I don't know, it sounds like it would be pretty good on Q, just to have more stones up. Decent enough on the Jar with a homing missile, but I don't know if that really outranks more stones on the Earth Spirit, so we'll see. And very easy to clear. Polaris is in the area, they are smoked, but they don't make the move fast enough. So there you go, Q does get that Shard, you'd be very happy. The core doesn't take it this time.
I can't believe it. They actually gave it to the Earth Spirit. You know, the only thing is, John, he only gets +4 boulders, and he gets a bit of vision with the boulders. Like, it's great for the Earth Spirit player, but I couldn't imagine the carry player actually saying, just take it. It's okay. I realize that that's actually very valuable. Well done to Jackie.
Yeah, it looks like I think he wants to win. I think that's
well, that's you know, very different to what I've been experiencing.
It's a mind-boggling concept. Yeah, it's a mind-boggling concept for a pubs. Nice block.
Look how confident he is. I mean, they've blocked him in, but what does it matter? If he gets constant heals and Heavenly Graces in fact, Fearless is in with the Vortex, and that is an AoE Vortex. So CML gets deleted. Is that enough for Motivate? I mean, they've got the Aegis. They are taking their time, understanding that Polaris could easily beat them in the team fight. These Fisher blocks are going to be very annoying for Jackie. Guardian Angel will be forced out. They got the buyback from CML, and it looks like that's probably going to be enough. They'll reset and, you know, still have plenty of time on the Aegis to come back and go high ground again.
Yeah, they're working their way up to a butterfly for Jackie. The evasion is going to make it very tough for the Terrorblade to get consistent damage out. It's not quite ready to itemize against that. He is going for the Daedalus, of course, as you tend to go on the Terrorblade. So Jackie's going to have even more protection once the full butterfly's up, and he just walks up again. No problems.
Well, I mean, you've got the Aegis, and quite frankly, they can't even kill you the first time. But Fearless goes down. It's a great pick-off now for Polaris. Boomy is going to get jumped here by Q. Meanwhile, Masaros will try to chase down Mac. You've got the lasso up. You should have enough setup to finish off Mac as well, and they'll get the lasso. Mac. Yeah, he can try to delay this as much as he wants, but there's no way out. Definitely just dead. I suppose it does delay the high ground push, but the tier 3 tower is already down. They've just got to go back for the mid-racks now.
And that was a decent attempt at creep cutting there from Polaris. But now they're down Echo Slam, and Jackie can just do this all over again. Stand up there, get the damage off, clear out the creep wave, and get going. Like, Metamorphosis is down for 30 seconds, so Natsumi can't really do as much. They've got the duel already, but you have to worry about the Omni Knight, and their axe just falls. They go for the next one.
But they do. Still plenty of time on that Aegis. Solar Crest even being built up by Setsura to speed things up even more. Natsumi's going to move in, but there's Fearless with the Vortex. Natsumi, he's going to be safe with the press the attack. But he can't man up against Jackie right now. Hey, Jackie's got the Satanic and the Paladin Sword, so he's got so much lifesteal. Not to mention, again, the Omni Knight's right behind him. And all he needs right now is some creeps.
Yeah, it's tough. And Polaris, maybe they can just wait out cooldowns. They've got Metamorphosis back up on their TB. Slam in about 20 seconds. So they'll have the tools for the high ground defense shortly. But there's that butterfly we were talking about in Jackie flying in on the courier. His inventory is kind of full up though. So maybe he just swaps that in after the Aegis expires and tosses out the Dragon Lance at this point. Still.
Well, the blocks are still out with the fish on. Jackie could give no craps as he goes onto the staircase and still reaches just fine. Black Cannon out. They just can't fight him. This Omni Gyrocopter is just so disgusting. Look at him.
Wow.
Just... Natsumi's gonna
All
commit.
it takes is one man.
He's doing no damage to Jackie, though. I mean, even before the Guardian Angel, there was no damage coming in. This gyrocopter was just fine.
Yeah, the butterfly is doing a bit too much work. Evasion, not something that the Terrablade's ready for. He did commit in buying the Daedalus as well. Has the recipe in. So it's going to be a while until an MKB counter comes in the smoke.
Yep, Mac gonna go move in. Pulse Nova. They've got the gyrocopter without the BKB active, and Jackie's gonna die. First life down. He did say Satanic. Big Vortex up from Fearless. Now Q moves in with a big Magnetize out. Jackie's there with the call down, and now the lasso. They've held down Natsumi. There's got 3 heroes down with that buyback, and this is looking like a GG call for Polaris, as they are still just trying to back off and run. I suppose you do have buyback on Boomy, but he's been trying all he can to lay this game out. They'll commit the buyback. T4's under siege, Jackie. Keep at it. Again, you've got to commit if you are Polaris. Mac, he'll move in. He'll try his absolute best with the Pulse Nova, but he's doing nothing. There is no damage to come out. Not with that Heavenly Grace out. They call it GG. Motivate.Trust, they'll pull off the Game 1 victory after such a terrible start that they just make it work every time.
Yeah, I don't know how they did it this time. They just stall out long enough. I mean, look, Jackie had a free lane. They left that gyrocopter alone for so long. They kept trying to bully out Fearless, but we know Fearless. He's a fearless guy. He doesn't care if his storm is stalled out. As long as he hits his Kaya Sanj timing, he does run in. He does make it work. And I think that was something Polaris fell flat on. Like, they kept forcing these fights. They didn't take objectives with the Leshrac. They didn't play around with the Metamorphosis as much as we expected.
Yeah.
And because of that, they miss out on this window to push early with the lineup they had. And they played a farming game against Jackie's Gyro, which just outscaled and outfarmed the Terrorblade very early on. Like, even while they were behind, Jackie was still #1 net worth.
That he was, John. We are going to head to a short break, though. And right after the break, we're going to be back with our final game between Motivate.Trust and Polaris. See you then.